Why do you hate other leftists, man? That's my problem with you, man. Why do you hate other leftists?
Talking about arming Hamas. You're talking about arming Palestinians. Hamas said that they are winning because those deaths are making Israel look bad on the world stage.
I mean,
it's not a fucking binary choice.
Look, my guy, look, I mean, you're a spoiled Arab living in the West, man. You've never been in that situation, a dire situation before, so I can't expect you to understand that.
You said, why don't we arm Palestinians? That's what you get when you arm Hamas. You get dead Arabs, so that fucking shitheads like you can dance upon their graves and fucking grandstand over everyone else and call people fake Arabs for not agreeing with your death cult bullshit.
You guys don't want to. Anyway, look, I mean, why are you so still self-hating Arab anyway? Because all the time talking about Hamas.
Just so you know,
Arab
yeah, I'm glad you.
I know you don't want to go back to the Middle East, but anyway, but like I know you're such a self.
No, yeah, I'm glad you moved the argument to that because that is all you have. You have personal insults, quasi fucking racism, as if all Arabs are supposed to believe the same shit. Yeah, that's all you have. You have no opinion. You have no solid opinions. You have no logical arguments. You're a fucking what? Hamas is being anti-Hamas, anti-Arab.
It's like my favorite insult. I'll call you a knuckle dragger. You are a knuckle dragger, man. You're a fucking moron. You're a window licker.
You're a window licker. Anyway, but what to say though? Okay, so
good comeback, man.
If Ukraine's getting all the support, military support by the West because it's getting invaded by Russia.
We're going back to this one.
How come why no support for Palestine?
Do you think, because I don't think Hamas are very responsible with weapons. They tend to just use them to run around fucking kibbutzim and setting fire to houses and then running away and hiding behind civilian infrastructure screaming to the international media when there's...
Why not support another group then?
Which particular militant group in Palestine do you think right now is like militarily responsible?
You can find another one.
The fact that you're PFLP, they were involved in October. What the fuck does the PFLP do? Hijacking planes. You want to go back to that?
Oh, look, if you give them weapons, I'm pretty sure they won't be hijacking planes. Though.
Didn't they participate on October 7th?
No, I don't think so.
No, they did. They did fuck all, but they were there. There's a couple of them kicking around.
I mean, look, where do you see? There's no proof of that. So, look, why are you making them shut up? Where does it look? They said PFLP. We were on October 7th. We participated in it. There's nothing that came from their page that say that.
Maybe they lied, but they said they were involved.
Where does it say that? Where, like, do you have a website of them or something like that?
Yeah, hang
PFLP.
on.
I mean, like,
It might have actually just been PFLP GC, or was this it? Who are the Hamas's allies? The national. Okay.
Hopefully it's not in Arabic.
They are pretty but they're pretty small. PFLP.
A statement issue the population price on March 28th. Yeah, like very good. Like this, what is what they say?
But again, what do you think the PFLP are going to do differently? What kind of militant action do you think these groups would do that would actually help Palestinians?
It's okay to arm Nazis. It's okay to arm neo-Nazis and etc. But it's not okay to arm people that have suffered under occupation and colonialism for decades.
When you say arming Nazis, do you think is there any evidence that the Ukrainian army are participating in like anti-Semitic violence in Ukraine? Are they burning synagogues? Are they fucking doing pogroms? They've been getting armed for like 2 or 3 years now. They haven't done any of that. So that arming neo-Nazis thing is a ridiculous claim. It seems to be all the Ukrainians are doing is fighting with Russian troops. That's what they're doing.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of them were having the waving the Nazi flag and talking about.
I don't care if they're waving flags. If you're talking about them being neo-Nazis, the problem with neo-Nazis is not that they have flags. The problem is that they kill fucking Jews and minorities and try to conquer countries and massacre civilians and shit like that. That's the problem with Nazis.
They massacre civilians, but the point.
The Ukrainian army has been massacring civilians. They've been going across Russia's border and fucking storming little Russian villages, setting fire to houses and shit.
The Donbass,
where they were fighting against Russian separatists, yes, and the Russian military.
And the Odessa building. What was that building? The theater they burned.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing
figure it out first before you talk about it, okay? Because I've read the UN report. If you want to talk about it, you can talk about it. But before you bring up something to the topic, please, I'm just a warning. Just think about: do you know anything about it? Do you know any more details than somebody else told you before you bring it up? Fair warning.
All right, yeah, the Odessa theater.
Okay, so the Odessa theater was during street violence when like some pro-Russia people, a lot of them gangsters and thugs, decided to attack some Ukrainian guys, and that of course pissed off the Ukrainian guys. And so the Ukrainian guys got their own weapons, and then they started fighting with them. Many of them had knives, guns on both sides, and then a lot of the Russian nationalists piled into a trade union building, and then they had Molotov cocktails, and somehow a fire started. And we don't know if it was one of the Russian nationalists throwing a Molotov from the inside, if it was somebody from the outside that lit it. There's never been a full investigation. There should be a full investigation. The UN report calls for a full investigation. But when people talk about it, they say it's like a massacre, like they rounded up all the Russians and murdered them, when it was street violence that got out of hand, like a riot.
But yeah, but it still doesn't excuse it, though. It still doesn't excuse.
Well, no, but it also didn't excuse the Russian nationalists from attacking Ukrainians protesting in the street, which caused the street violence in the first place.
I think it's a bit telling that all your strongest examples are just these like pitiful examples like this. That this was your example of Ukrainians massacring civilians. This is a real thing
that there should be an investigation into. Like, the UN does talk about like people trying to stop investigations, but this is bad. But this is the worst we're getting to, and you didn't know anything about it. And we're talking about like street violence that got out of hand here.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
A little different than a wait. Won't you say that's a little different than a mass grave of 444 people?
We're talking about Hamas,
majority of whom are civilians.
We're talking about Hamas and Israel again. Like, we're talking about Hamas.
We're off of the trade union building. We're back. We're jumping continents like it's nothing, man. Oh my God.
No, look.
Don't playing. Where's Waldo from each argument? Which country when they end up in today? My goodness.
We're talking about why we're not supporting. They're talking about why not.
So now we don't need to talk about Odessa or the trade union building or like. Okay, well, you know.
Well, because the problem is that when you give Ukrainians arms, they stand between Russia and conquering more Ukrainian territory. When you give Hamas arms, they start an unwinnable war and get 30,000 of their own people killed, and then go on Channel 4 and claim to be winning the war because the propaganda is making Israel look bad. That's probably why you arm one but not the other.
But okay, so like all the dead children that Israel is doing, we should just let that go. We should just like let it happen and just support them, huh?
Hamas said that they are winning. You're talking about arming Hamas. You're talking about arming Palestinians. Hamas said that they are winning because those deaths are making Israel look bad on the world stage. That's what you want. You said, why don't we arm Palestinians? That's what you get when you arm Hamas. You get dead Arabs so that fucking shitheads like you can dance upon their graves and fucking grandstand over everyone else and call people fake Arabs for not agreeing with your suicide fucking death cult bullshit. Yes.
What do you mean? Like, and Ukraine can take on Russia?
I feel like Ukraine's actually doing a pretty good job at stopping Russia from conquering Kyiv, right? Or the rest of Ukraine. Russia is like the second most powerful military in the world, and they are they're in a stalemate against Ukraine.
They're not in a stalemate, but
really, has the border moved that much in the last year and a half?
It's not a stalemate. It's not a stalemate either way. It's just.
Well, I mean, if they continue to capture territory at current rates, it would take them, I think, 15 years to get to Kiev at best. That's at the highest rate of moving, I think. I think
it's a very slow advance rather than a stalemate.
Like, do you think the Ukrainians would have enough men for 15 years? Even now they're suffering, man.
Well, I don't think the Russians would have enough men for 15 years. I don't think they'd have enough equipment either. They can't replace. Do you want to talk? Okay. You've reached another fork in the road. Do you want to again talk about the logistics of the war, something you probably don't know a lot about, or let's stay back to Gaza so you don't embarrass yourself again?
Look, my guy. Would Ukraine run out with men first, or would Russia not run out of men first?
The Ukrainians have less men, but the Russians are losing men at higher rates and are losing equipment at higher rates. They've lost like 40%. They've lost like 40% of the Russian tank arsenal, and we're seeing Stalin era tanks rushing positions on the front. That suggests to me that if the Ukrainians were supplied sufficiently, it could get to the point where Russian equipment will be literal garbage if given enough time and given enough effort and given enough support. And hey, I'm not saying that's 100% the outcome that will happen, but that is something that can be thought about in reality. Hamas is not going to take Tel Aviv.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so look, man, we can't get along on anything, so I have to move forward to a different question.
Why didn't you just take the fork in the road? You've humiliated yourself again, dog. Just stop doing it.
Who ran out of steam first, Russia or Afghanistan? That was when they were the Soviet Union.
Anyway. Yeah, the Soviet Union ran out of steam because of economics, because of many things. Yeah, like there was like a whole lot of plethora of things on that one.
Also, being the invader just makes it harder in general, right? Because you have less to fight for than the people who are defending themselves. But, yeah.
No, but like Russia is fighting for survival too, because this is an existential threat.
No, this has nothing to do with an existential threat. What the f*** are you talking about?
But what I mean, like, if
what's going to happen to Russia if they get pushed back over the border? You think Ukraine's going to invade Moscow?
No, they think the entire collapse. Like the entire Russian
why would it? They didn't have Ukraine in 2013 and everything was fine. No, why do they need Ukraine now? They're the largest country in the world. Why do they need more land?
NATO would be more next door. NATO would impose.
NATO's already next door. They're in Finland. They're in Sweden. They've gotten closer because they invaded. They've made the threat larger.
They would lose their Black Sea Fleet. They would lose their Black Sea Fleet as well. They would lose their.
They're already losing the Black Sea Fleet. They've lost 30% of it already. If they keep up this war, they're going to lose all of it.
Yeah, but they can't lose. They still hold the area, right? They still hold that area. Whenever the war is over, they can rebuild.
Why do they need the Black Sea Fleet? Why is this necessary, or Russia will collapse? They didn't have it. I mean, like, why? And why couldn't they have negotiated a treaty to stay in the Black Sea Fleet in 2013? They could have. The Ukrainian government, the new one, offered to negotiate Crimea.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. Yes, you did. No, I can. Okay. Our Enemies Will Vanish. I recommend that book. Another one would be, I think, Ukraine: Rise and Fall of Nations. That would be another one I'd recommend. It talks about it in detail. I'm trying to give you a foundation to build from. Okay, because your foundation's garbage. It's ass.
Look, man, you're just a NATO cocksucker, man, and you're a NATO cocksucker, and that's what you are, man. That's what you are, man. That's what I have to say. Yeah.
No shame.
And that's why you like
just keep chugging away.
Exactly. Yeah, look, no, because he has no shame, man. Look,
let's recap. I can probably list about 10.
It's not even about NATO. It's about I want the Russians out of the country.
Dylan, you're in my stream, okay?
Okay.
I feel like we could probably list about 10 or 20 things you've got wrong in this debate. Which point do you think you've made so far in this debate that's actually been correct?
Okay, well, I just want to make this point correct, okay? That you guys have to choose between either Ukraine or Israel, which is your puppy, because America.
It's not even a point. That's a fucking question.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you guys have to. It's a point, but my point is, though, you can't support both those wars, though. I don't know. I know you, Dylan. Do you support the Gaza war of Israel?
Do I support Israel? I don't think Israel's doing anything to make long-term peace. I don't think we should send them any weapons.
All right, fair enough. So you think that we should clamp down on Israel and keep supporting the Ukraine war, but I think which is more dangerous because afraid of facing a nuclear army.
Israel has a nuclear arsenal. Do you think if Hamas do you think if Israel's existence or they thought Israel's existence was a threat, they wouldn't use nuclear weapons? You don't think Netanyahu would, or Ben Gvir wouldn't encourage him to?
Who would threaten them, though? Are we threatening them? Or I don't think Iran would be a threat to them.
It's not a question of whether. This is the thing that I think is hard for people to understand. It's not a question of whether if we think we threaten them. It's a question of they think they're threatened. It's the same thing for the Russians. If they're going to use a nuclear arsenal, it's a question. Like, for example, there's a question about first shot policy by the French to scare the enemy to make them know they're serious if they cross some red line. The problem with that policy could be if there is a first shot that goes off, the intention for the French is to scare the Russians and make them think that their safety is a threat. But if they fire it off and the Russians think nuclear war has already started, then they're going to fire off everything. It's not a question of what we think is a threat to them. It's a question of what they think is a threat to them. So if Israel thinks that their existence is a threat, they might use nuclear weapons. So, I would say that the Russians don't need Crimea to exist, but it's a question of whether they legitimately would think that is the case.
Yeah, I think that's the only warm sea fleet. So I think
it's the only warm sea fleet. Why couldn't they have a port along the other coastline that they already have with the Black Sea? Why do they need that one? And why couldn't they have negotiated it in 2013, like I said earlier? Well, they already had the Russian government, the new Ukrainian after the Yanukovych fled after helping murder 100 people. The new government said that they were willing to negotiate the issue. Yes, and then the Russians took over Crimea.
Yeah, because they were bluffing. They were fucking full of shit.
The new government was full of shit. You think the new government with maybe 12,000 actual functional soldiers would have just completely ignored the Russians in every capacity and said, you know what, we think that we could hold you off, second most powerful army in the world with our 10,000 guys.
They were playing games. They were saying,
they were willing to negotiate because they didn't want to get invaded, and then the Russians invaded. Yeah, but no, that's what do you mean exactly? Yes, they were willing to secede the Russian demands because they were scared of Russian violence. Then they got the Russian violence anyway, even if they were willing to negotiate.
Look, What Ukraine in 2014 did was switch pathways, right? They want to become closer to EU, closer to NATO. So if you're closer to NATO, there is no fucking way you're going to have a fucking Russian Black Sea
Number one,
fleet.
it wasn't
majority
about
of
NATO. It
Ukrainians
was about
didn't
the
want to join
EU.
NATO in
Stop, put
2014.
NATO out of your conversation here, because we're talking about the Euromaidan movement, which was about the Eurozone. That's why it's called Euromaidan. They wanted to enter an association agreement with the EU, which the Ukrainian government had been negotiating for years, and Yanukovych said on the campaign trail that he would do. Then in the middle of the night, once everybody was at home sleeping, he reversed it because the Russians held up trade on the border, coercing them economically, which they promised they wouldn't do in the Budapest Memorandum. Yanukovych, scared of the economy going under and scared of what the Russians might do, ends up seceding to them in the middle of the night and reversing the policy. It was done in the middle of the night to suppress protests. Student protesters went out. They were beaten brutally. Flashbangs were covered in nails and screws and throws in the crowds. Then when those images were blared into every home in the country, more protesters came out. The Euromaidan in Kiev Square expanded. It blew up in Kharkiv. The Automaidan happened, and the rest is history, because they started murdering protesters and tried to outlaw protests. It got out of control. Then Yanukovych fled. That's what happened. Then that new government wanted to negotiate with the Russians because they understood the position. They understood what would happen if they went to war with Russia. The Russians understood the Ukrainians were now unstable, and they took advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Got you. But no, not anyway. But we are going back. I forgot to ask you the question, LonerBox. You skipped that one. Who do you support more, like the supporting Israel or supporting Ukraine?
In terms of arming?
Yeah,
I think Ukraine needs the arms more than Israel does, yeah.
So if push comes to shove, you would abandon Israel instead of Ukraine?
I don't think I would abandon them, but definitely prioritize
you have
Ukraine.
to. That's what. If you're overstretched.
What if I'm forced to choose?
Yeah.
Oh, Ukraine.
If you're overstretched,
Ukraine needs the weapons more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But what I'm trying to say though, that I'm pretty sure America is going to choose Israel over Ukraine. So that's what I'm trying to say, that with this new war that's going on with the bombing of the embassy, if shit pops off with Iran, if shit pops off with Lebanon, your home country, I know you want your home people to die as well.
No, I actually don't want them to die. I'd rather Hezbollah didn't start an unwinnable war with Israel. No, because then Lebanon would probably get fucking razed like they did in 2006.
No, but
wait, why the fuck do you say that? Like, do you think Hezbollah should attack Israel? Or should they stop?
I'm not saying that. No, I didn't say that.
Should they stop? Should they go over the litany and just govern like normal people? Should they do that instead?
No, dude. Israel right now is off the chains.
Yes or no? Should Hezbollah keep firing rockets at Israel right now or not?
No, they shouldn't. Right now, actually, they should, because the war in Gaza.
Okay, so you want Lebanese people to die? I don't. Good, thanks.
But Israelis have said they want to have their security. So if they want to have their security, they say we have to take care of Hezbollah too. Yeah?
Yeah, because Hezbollah are attacking them. If Hezbollah didn't attack them, then Israel wouldn't have a security threat with Hezbollah.
Because they're committing a genocide in Gaza, man. Look, and they don't want to have peace in between. They don't see the fellow Arabs in the Middle East.
Okay, how is Hezbollah helping Palestinians in Gaza right now?
I don't know. You can have to talk to them.
They're really not. They're just not. That's why you don't even know. They're not helping. They're just making. They're just doing a little bit. They're just doing the bare minimum to make it look like they're doing something. That's what Hezbollah is doing.
Where do you think all those weapons came from? Where do you think all those training came from? Where do you think all this
Hezbollah's
military? It's one of those pipelines is from Iran.
Yeah, I know it's from Iran. Yeah, Syria.
Yeah, Iran, Hezbollah. That's in Iraq as well, right?
That doesn't answer my question. The question is, how is Hezbollah's actions right now helping Palestinians in Gaza?
They're not supporting them. They're not supporting them. What do you call it? They're not doing. What do you call it?
Enough?
Direct conflict with Israel. They're not doing direct conflict with Israel. They're not doing any of that. I'm pretty sure they're doing other ways, and what we don't know about, to indirectly support Palestine.
Okay, but you're not going to. I'll ask the question again. Why?
I'm not supposed to know.
How is Hezbollah helping people in Gaza right now? I can explain how American arms are helping Ukraine right now, but that's quite easy. How is arming Hezbollah?
They can do that because America is an empire.
So the question is how is Hezbollah's actions helping people in Gaza right now?
Look, I don't know what it's a shadowy government. It's a shadowy.
Their actions aren't shadowing. There are fucking Al Jazeera cameras going. There are Al Jazeera cameras filming all the fucking time, all day, of the strikes going back and forth in Lebanon.
Okay, they do that, but like I'm pretty sure there's other shadowy stuff they do as well, which I don't know. I don't know about. You don't know about. I'm pretty sure that even the Israelis don't know about. So how the fuck am I supposed to tell you? Yeah, like what Hezbollah is doing is good.
So so you
Pretty
think
sure
they
they
are
do.
helping, but just in a way that no one knows about.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they do all this stuff. I mean, they do the training, they do the military support, they do all this kind of stuff.
Well, the military stuff is
And
public.
stuff
How do we
they,
know about how do we know the military stuff is helping then?
well, I mean, like what were all those guns that was in Palestine? All what they're helping with the Houthis as well with the drones and
How is
throwing
any
the
of
shit.
that helping?
What do you call it? It's making
That literally started like the arms that went to Gaza. That's what started the war. They used those fucking arms to start the war on October 7th.
You think if they didn't start, like nothing would happen, like everything would be copacetic and kumbaya?
It wouldn't have been kumbaya, but I don't think Israel would have invaded Gaza to try and remove Hamas. No, because they weren't doing that before. Hamas were there before October 7th. I think Israel, for some reason, out of the fucking blue, I guess, they changed their minds and decided that they were going to fully occupy Gaza and completely eliminate Hamas. And it's just a coincidence that they made that decision right after Hamas launched an attack on Israel. Anyway.
No, but I understand, like, if, like, look, you can't expect people to be dogs for the rest of their life, man. You can't expect that. Do you expect Palestinians
I'm
to be
not
dogs?
expecting them to
And
be dogs. There's a spectrum between being a dog and then going out into the fucking kibbutzim and just like massacring civilians and gunning down a bunch of hippies in a festival.
I mean,
It's
you've
not a
never been in
fucking
that
binary
situation.
choice.
Look, my guy, like, I mean, you're a spoiled Arab living in the West, man. You've never been in that situation, a dire situation before, so I can't, like, I can't expect you to understand that. But anyway,
I can understand why people are angry and they feel like they need to take action, but that's not the question. The question is not, is it understandable that some Palestinians feel that way after watching their relatives die in a fucking cut the grass operation and having no citizenship and no state and they can't move anywhere, living under food insecurity, permanent refugee status? Of course, you can understand why they're angry. That's not the question, though. The question is that anger being channeled and being addressed by leaders in an effective way? Well, no. They have bad leaders. The leaders make bad decisions.
Yeah, but Israel is also an unimaginable, incredibly powerful force with the support of the U.S. empire. That's the problem as well. Like, I mean, when we don't do anything to alleviate that kind of, and not only that, though, these people are like, and the Israelis as well. It's they have a messianic, like, manifest destiny. Beliefs. So they are zealots. They're religious zealots as well. Like, so that's the problem as well.
Well, the problem is the messianic thing isn't really being applied to Gaza. They're not expanding settlements into Gaza. That wasn't the problem with Gaza. The problem wasn't expansion of settlements. That's not been an issue for like nearly 20 years now.
No, but like they don't want to expand the Gaza settlement, but they were still holding it like in a chokehold. Though they were still holding it in a chokehold. They were still holding it as an occupied territory.
Why were they holding it in a chokehold? Why was the blockade? Why were they doing that? For no reason?
Yeah, the block. Look, my guy. Look, that's what I'm saying. All these like.
I'll give you the answer. They were doing it because Hamas were using humanitarian aid and fucking every resource they could to not build any kind of like anything approximating a reasonable like civil society in Gaza. They were using their resources to build fucking dusty, shitty, unreliable, fucking repurposed dildo rockets that basically get fired into Israel and then get responded to without any defense mechanism, without any shelters for their civilians, or without any kind of like plan B, because their whole strategy is attack Israel, don't really achieve anything, don't achieve any occupation of territory or anything like that. Just attack them, get hit back, let your civilians die, and then go to the international community and ask for support.
Okay, the Palestinian Authority gave up its struggle, right? The PLO gave up its struggle, right? And now look what's happening to the West Bank. Is that a good thing? What's happening in the West Bank right now?
I don't think it's good, but I think it's probably preferable to Gaza. Yeah.
So you're thinking that being a house slave is more preferable? This was I had an argument as well with Destiny.
You don't need to talk about analogies, okay? We can just talk about what they're doing. I'm not saying that what the PLO are doing is perfect. The PLO have plenty of problems as well. But it's not,
like that's what I'm saying though. Like, so
I just don't know why. I don't know why we can't even. I feel like you're only asking this because you don't want to commit to the first point. We haven't even established a foundation that what Hamas does not help.
So neither does it look.
No, wait. That's all I. So wait. So are you acknowledging that? Can you just? Are you acknowledging that what Hamas doesn't help?
What Hamas does? Well, at least they do something though. That's what I'm trying to say though. At least they do something. So like, I mean,
no, that's not the fucking point. That you can make things worse. If something is broken, you can break it more, right?
But like, there's nothing, and you're doing nothing as well. You're gonna get slowly eaten.
We're
up
not
as well.
talking.
So
Stop.
what's the-
I'm not asking you to compare it to anything. We can get to that stage of the conversation, but we have to establish a foundation that what Hamas does either helps or doesn't. And you're not giving me a straight answer. That's why every time I ask, "Does Hamas help?" you say, "Oh, what? So it's better to just do nothing and die?" Well, no, obviously not. I'm just asking you if Hamas does helps.
So I cannot criticize somebody look. I cannot criticize a freedom fighter that is fighting one of the most powerful militaries in the world, and because I don't know
How is it
what's the
freedom
better
fighting?
answer.
What freedom is being achieved by that? Is Gaza any
Okay,
closer to freedom
what is
now
your-
than it was
what
in
is your answer
2005?
then? Okay, what is your answer? What is your best answer? Okay,
We're
you are the
not
leader of
we're not
Hamas.
at that stage of the conversation yet. We can get to that stage. I just need a straight answer from you about whether or not Hamas helps or not. I don't know why the fuck you can't answer that.
Yes, they help. Okay, they do at least something.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's the point in discussing anything else if you can't if you are stuck on this problem? How does Hamas help? How is life in Gaza better now than it was since Hamas took power in 2006?
Because I think at least if they die, at least this is going to be wounded knee. I mean, they died fighting. You know, they didn't just get slowly.
Okay, so it's
Wow,
it's
they're
more
gonna
it's
give
more
an honorable death
so
to
it's
the
more
Palestinian
it's more
people.
poetic to
Oh,
you.
shut up, man! You support of Nazis, man. Just shut up, man. Like,
So you no, that's
supporter of the
that's fine
honorable
though. That's
Nazis,
fine though. Yeah,
the
you
Hail
like
brave
it.
Nazis of
Zelensky.
Mariupol, the brave
Hail
Nazis
Zelensky.
the brave Nazis of what was it like a military? What steel was the steel in Mariupol? Huh? They died like you were thinking. Oh, they would.
Hey,
never
maybe you should
surrender.
figure out what it is before you talk about it again.
It was a steel.
Was this a Nazi mural that the Russians replaced? This little girl holding a teddy bear. Maybe it's like a idyllic. I guess she's dressed like a kind of like Lebensraum rural person. Who knows? Anyway, sorry.
Hey,
So
Loners,
the way that Hamas helps is that it makes spectators like you feel nicer that they died in a more poetic way.
I don't feel it. Like, it's not about me.
You
man. It's not about
hate
me.
Arabs. You want them to fucking
don't
die
hate Arabs.
because at
No,
least
no,
you'll
no.
sit there going, God bless those brave soldiers who fought for their freedom. Like sitting there fucking writing the eulogy and crying about how pretty the
Fuck,
wording
man,
is on the
you
fucking
go to the
tombstone.
cenotaph. Do you go to the cenotaph every? What was that? Like, it was a Heroes Day in England and Britain.
No, I don't go to the
Is that-
cenotaph every year. No.
Ah,
Why?
right, okay. I was just saying, if you did that, you'd be a fucking hypocrite.
Okay. What's that? I almost had a point
Because
there, but I didn't.
No,
Oh, well.
because they celebrate the glorious dead that fought for Britain.
Well, the
And
people
they
who
fought-
the people who fought in World War II were fighting to defeat Nazis, not to just die so that spectators could say they did it in a nice way.
Who are these people fighting? They're fighting for their land and freedom against which are
No, they're not.
like,
Do you think Hamas
zealots.
do you think Hamas started October 7th because they were expecting to claim territory?
No, they are. I don't think they were.
No, they
expecting
were
to
not
claim
expecting to
territory.
claim territory. Of course they fucking weren't.
No, but at least they were trying to do something. They could do anything unless, like, unlike the West Bank, just get slowly swallowed up. And they wanted to die fighting like a man. And look, it is what it is, man. Like, I can't judge because I'm not in the same position and I don't have a better.
Well, we're not talking
better
about judging
answer.
the people who are radicalized because of the conditions they live under. We're talking about their leadership. The leadership of Hamas are not. They live in fucking like hotels in Qatar.
Well, any leadership lives in better position than the soldiers, man. What are you supposed to say?
Yeah, so
man?
we're
Like
not
that-
saying like I can understand why they feel that way because there's no other alternative and they're all traumatized and shit. Well, that you can say that about people who like live a really fucking rough life and they see their loved ones die and they want to join a militant group. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about the
But
leaders
Khalid
who made the
Mashal,
decision.
what the fuck? What do you mean?
We're talking
Khalid
about their
Mashal almost got
leaders.
assassinated. Well, yeah, exactly. Khalid Mashal almost got assassinated by poison, man, in front of his own daughter. Abu Jihad got shot in front of his own daughter too. Don't tell me that the Palestinian leaders, most of them who are dead right now, 6 feet under, don't tell me they don't take a risk in their life, man. They're like being a Palestinian leader is not a like what's the name?
Do you think
Sheikh Yassin
Hania is?
have blown
Do you
up-
think Hania is suffering right now
I'm pretty sure he's suffering. I mean, like I'm pretty
in
sure
his little
he's,
hotel
he
room?
has- So look, living in
The
a
people
hotel
going
room
on
is
the people going on the Channel 4 interview saying that Hamas is winning right now because I mean
White
I know
House,
30,000 people are
White House,
dead,
okay,
but it looks good in the
oh my
press.
God, like, leaders in the White House, at least better than Zelensky and going on fucking what's that like the
Bro, this dude lives on a. He sits on a.
GQ.
This guy is
GQ.
this guy is sitting on a fucking throne, saying
How's he
that they're
sitting on
winning
a
the
throne,
war.
man? How is he? He's not sitting on a throne, man. The fuck do you mean? What throne?
Look at this chair. It's got to cost as much as a fucking Gazan hospital.
That is no way. You're spreading Israeli propaganda now that he's worth $7 billion.
I didn't say he was worth $7 billion. Why did I say that?
That's
You
Israeli
can't just
propaganda.
you can't accuse me of spreading Israeli propaganda and then say something that I never said, right? What?
But like you're about to say, like I'm pretty sure you're about to get close to say, oh, like now he's worth $7 billion. Okay, but there's nothing wrong with a revolutionary leader living in a higher position, because that's what leaders are supposed to.
There is something wrong with him encouraging his people to go and get fucking killed with no protections in place for their civilians as they fight an unwinnable war, and then going to the Western press and claiming it's a victory because the high death toll is making Israel a bit unpopular in the world stage. There actually is quite a lot wrong with that. It's the kind of thing that you would do if you hate Palestinians. If you think it's worth sacrificing tens of thousands of them for a war with no fucking tangible ends so that you can basically get propaganda points on the world stage. There actually is quite a lot wrong with that. You think it's okay because at least it lets you sit there and cry and hold your fucking hand to your heart and say, at least they died like men. Off, dude.
That's the American position on Ukraine. That's not the revolutionary position on Palestine, my guy.
Ukrainians are actually holding off an otherwise invasion of the entire country. So yeah, Ukrainians are actually kind of doing what they set out to do. Russia was moving towards Kiev, and then they got pushed back. That's a tangible fucking victory.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure if the Palestinians were getting all those weapons as well, I'm pretty sure there would have been some
what more kibbutzim would have been fucking raided and people slaughtered. They'd have got a few more. They'd have a few more fucking music festivals. Maybe a few in the north as well. Maybe they would have bust up some fucking nightclubs in Tel Aviv.
You would have seen a Palestinian state, man. You would have seen a Palestinian state.
Yeah, because clearly the amount of fucking fighting that they've been doing for the last 75 years has got them much closer to that.
All right.
Anyway.
Last question. Okay, what is your problem with Krystal Ball, man? I had to answer this question. What is your problem with Krystal Ball?
I saw one segment of hers that I thought was a bit silly. It was just like quote sniping and kind of dumb shit. It sounded like she was kind of...
Why do you hate other leftists, man? That's my problem with you, man. Why do you hate other leftists, man? You're always on, except Destiny and Dylan Burns. Actually, Destiny's not even a leftist. He told me last time
he's a liberal.
He's a liberal. He's not a leftist. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not a leftist. And he's also a prostitute. But anyway, like
wow.
No, but he said that himself.
Your token leftist friend, Loner.
Yeah, I like some leftists, just as long as they're not fucking cringe and advocating for shit that gets Palestinians killed so that they can soy out about it on Twitter. As long as they don't do that, because I'm an Arab, and I like it when Arabs actually live and when they have political goals and ambitions that are actually tangible and achievable. It's not living like dogs. What do you think is happening in Gaza right now? How do you think they're living? Because of what Hamas did. Because of a war that Hamas asked for. Because of a war that Hamas wanted.
Like I'm pretty sure.
Whilst their leaders say that they're winning.
Anyway, I think you should respect Krystal Ball because Krystal and Kyle are the,
I like Krystal. I've been on her show. We've gone quite well. I just don't like it that Kyle is supporting the fucking Houthis and shit like that. Yeah, that's kind of silly.
No, because why not? They're supposed to support revolutionaries.
Because they're not helping. It's not a revolution. It's what, an Islamic revolution. Not all revolutions are good. They're what's revolutionary
Islamic
about them attacking merchant vessels and kidnapping civilians? There's 25 civilians on that ship still haven't been found yet. They're still being held captive. I don't really know how that's helped the people in Gaza in any way. Has it?
I mean,
no, of course it hasn't.
They're doing. What are you doing to help get the Gazans? At least they're doing something, man. Stop criticizing people that are doing something.
No, they're making it worse. That's what they're doing. They've what's happening in Yemen now? What happened in Yemen after they did that? They've got fucking bombed, of course, and even China and Russia didn't vote against it in the Security Council because even they thought that what the Houthis were doing was fucking retarded, like just attacking international trade as if that was supposed to help, and kidnapping people on a fucking boat. A bunch of Filipinos or some shit? Jesus Christ.
Well, I'd say they are the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce of the leftists, so you should leave them alone, man. Because we don't have anything else after vaush. He and his love of horse cock. So we don't have anything more. So you should respect.
Well, maybe they've got you guys. Maybe they've got you. You're gonna be the rising star with your anyway. Wait, that claim's not good either. Oh, anyway.
No, but I have to have a power couple. They have to be two popular power couple. Who are you in love with anyway? You see an Israeli girl or anything?
I love my family.
You have no girlfriend?
No.
No boyfriend?
No.
Maybe you and Dylan Burns could get can get hooked up and be a new power couple.
I'm not
No?
homosexual. He is.
Oh, really?
I will let you know that your gay shipping fantasies do flatter me.
You hear that, LonerBox?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did flatter him. Yeah, I know.
Why
Yeah,
are you
but, like,
thinking
I'm
of us?
surprised, though.
Why are you thinking of gay fantasies of different streamers?
It's not gay fantasy.
Well, it is a gay. It is you're trying to
It's
match up
literally-
different men
you're, like,
together, and it's literally a
matchmaking.
gay fantasy.
Being a matchmaker doesn't mean I have a fantasy for you guys. Jesus Christ, man. Being a matchmaker doesn't mean I have gay fantasies. I was just being a matchmaker. I thought he was gay. I thought you were gay too.
Gay
But I know
fantasy
you were gay.
matchmaking.
No. Yeah, no, it's not fantasy matchmaking. But I thought he was gay, so that's all. But yeah, so since we don't have another power couple, man, I think because I don't know, man, leftist women, we don't have a lot of them, so I think you should leave Krystal Ball alone. You agree?
No, I'll critique her when I think she's wrong, and I'll praise her when I think she's right. I've done both. I think that's actually the better way to respect women, rather than just default fucking praise. No, that's silly.
No, because we don't have a lot of them though in the leftist sphere. Though. I don't know for what reason, but we don't have a lot of them, and especially.
I think Krystal Ball is going to be fine if I criticize her sometimes. She's doing pretty well.
No, I think what he's trying to tell you, Loner, is that women can't handle criticism, and that's the point he's trying to get across.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say, man. Anyway, it was fun talking to you guys. And Loner, yeah, you're still on hot ice, man. I'm still not as sure about you that you're not a Zionist supporter, man. You're a secret Zionist, but because last time I was talking about that I was part of Irish Palestinian Solidarity campaign, you just shut me off. But anyway.
Well, was that the full sentence that you gave to me?
Yeah, like I was telling him, I'm part of Irish Palestinian Solidarity campaign. He just shut me off, man. What the hell is that about, man? Like you can hang out with Irish Palestinian Solidarity campaign, but you can probably hang out with IDF personnel, though.
Wait, let me find that. I don't think you're being too honest about the rest of that sentence.
I am. Yeah,
I think you said, I am connecting with a fellow leftist here, Palestinian Solidarity of Scotland, and others would like to have an in-person debate with you on why you keep shilling Hasbara propaganda as a leftist. Don't call out the liberal destiny when he, at this point, licking the balls of Israel. And lastly, why the fuck is it when I call you out that 3 Zionists spring up to defend you? Yeah, that's probably why I didn't reply. You were muted at that point. Fucking crazy fuck.
No, because I was pissed off by you, because you it's just full of Zionists on your fucking page, man. Like, some of them told me to burn myself, what's his name, the airman, and Destiny even also made fun of him as well. It's not cool, man. It's every people. This is what I see with this situation right now with Israel and Palestine. This is the crux of what it means to be leftist, or what it means to be.
Yeah, but I think to you, a Zionist is just someone who disagrees with you. I don't even.
No, okay, not even a Zionist, okay, but this is the crux, though, all right? If you're a leftist nowadays, if you're for rebellion and revolutionary, or if you're for the status quo or the establishment, so that's what I feel like this war is about, even more so than Russia v Ukraine.
No, the problem actually is that whilst there are plenty of legitimate criticisms against Israel, the shit that their government is doing in the West Bank right now and using the cover of war to expand settlements at an unprecedented rate, the fact that their bombing campaign in Gaza seems to be being done with so little consideration for human life and collateral damage, and the fact that they are very tolerant of high numbers of civilian casualties, the fact that they are seemingly quite neglectful over trying to establish humanitarian corridors in the north of Gaza, which might actually lead to quite a large number of people starving to death, the fact that they don't seem to have any conceivable plan for what happens after they get rid of Hamas, the fact that they've literally been they've engaged in practices where they've got their own hostages killed, the fact that they just hit some aid workers, and that's the stuff that's really public and they take ownership of, which says very little about what they might actually be doing to Palestinians as well, suggesting it's probably worse. There are all these criticisms that you can make very clearly against Israel, and the fact that they are a country that's taking quite a lot of money from Western European and American powers is worth a very interesting, an important conversation. But we can't, it's never going to come from people like you. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, it's gonna come from people that are establishment, hang out with Destiny, that licks Zionist balls, that talks about, that makes fun of the guy burning himself to death, that keeps shilling for Zionists for every chance he gets, that hangs out with neo-Nazis like Lick Fuentes. I mean, and then who also said himself as well, if he wasn't a streamer, he would probably just sell himself as a prostitute, man. So I don't know what the fuck is going on, man. So that's my fucking problem.
What the fuck was that? Why can't you why do you have to deflect every critique? Why do you have to deflect every critique of yourself at like other people? Or
well, I mean,
what was that response?
That's the kind of people you hang out with, and that's the kind of people you think that are good for leftist discourse nowadays. You know, it's just nonsense. Because, look, I'm not advocating for violence or anything.
When did I start floating Destiny as the one who's going to be there to call out like the Israeli shortcomings?
No, but
I don't know. I thought personally, I thought you would probably look to people like Haaretz, or even just like quite a lot of reporting in the Western press that seems to be taking up critiques against Israel quite seriously now, or even a lot of these humanitarian organizations. Like, for example, the fact that at least 2 of them now, probably more, have actually just paused their activity in Gaza because they don't trust Israel to provide them safe passage. There are lots of advocates out there that actually do have reasonable critiques to make of Israel and like pretty strong things to say about them. Even actually, I don't agree with them on everything, but like that Mustafa Barghouti guy even sometimes gives like reasonable challenges. But yeah, that's just not you. You is just like, it's good that Hamas are doing something, because at least if Palestinians die in the tens of thousands, at least they died like men. Okay, before, even though some of them aren't even men, they're fucking kids.
Because you didn't give but you didn't give any retort or any ideas of what they should do better, or what is the pathway to peace, or what should the Hamas leadership or any Palestinian leadership should do. You don't have no idea. Like I said, I have no idea, so I can't criticize them for what they're doing. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know. So, but you say you give no answers. You give no
okay,
no
yeah,
ideas.
I can give you a couple.
No
For one,
solutions.
I don't think people in Gaza have a military solution to their problems. If you believe that, you are fucking delusional. Okay,
that is not a solution.
It would be much easier, I think, for Hamas right now, and there would obviously still be challenges. But if Hamas before October 7th had focused on economic activity and trying to actually build some kind of like a cohesive civil society and democracy within Gaza, even after the PA and like the rest of the world was snubbing them, I think you could have had a much better result than you have right now in Gaza. It wouldn't be ideal. There'd still be a lack of statehood and all that shit, but it would be far better than what they've got now. As for the PA and the PLO, I think there are absolutely instances where Palestinians are justified to use violence and self-defense against settlement expansion and against settler aggression. Of course, they should be allowed to use that. It's a fucking military occupation, whilst also at the same time having a leadership that is willing to speak to Israeli leaders who are willing to engage in some kind of peace process, and maybe using that opportunity to see where exactly your population is at, maybe being able to establish relationships with the rest of the world to put more pressure on stopping the expansion of settlements. It seems to be that even American governments are actually interested in that notion right now and using physical executive actions to try and achieve it with the sanctions on the outposts. Yeah, there are definitely actions they can take, but the idea that all those actions also advocating for things like BDS, I still support that, especially in the West Bank. So there are quite a few different things that people can do from within and from without Israel and Palestine. But all of that kind of sits on a basis of acknowledging that they do not have a military solution to this conflict anymore. They haven't for a long time. And the problem with trying to say that they still do is that the only thing you achieve from it is what you're saying. Well, yeah, it'll provoke the most insane fucking batshit reaction from Israel. Tens of thousands of people will die. And then a Hamas leader will go on Channel 4 and call it a victory because it's good propaganda. And then you'll say, oh, it's nice because they died like men, even though most of them probably aren't even old enough to be considered men.
Yeah, but you're the one that keeps accusing for all the murders, anyways. But a question to Dylan Burns is here Dylan there?
You didn't engage with anything I just said?
Look,
yeah,
no,
I said with another anyway.
I said, look, I hear you out. You gave me your solution. I got you. All right, I got you. I got your solution. It was not that much of a solution. It just keeps you as the status quo.
No, I don't think it's. How is that status quo?
Oh, what is the status quo? Like BDS is status quo. What else is status quo?
BDS is not status quo. BDS is like, it's illegal in some states.
I'm gonna go get a drink. Tell me your question when I get back.
Status quo was not American presidents putting sanctions on settlers and outposts. That wasn't status quo. Status quo was not like armed militant like Palestinian groups who only focus on self-defense and like infrastructure targets, as opposed to like the Hamas style of killing basically whoever. That wasn't status quo. Status quo was not Hamas stopping with their fucking stupid rocket and actually like allowing for humanitarian aid and infrastructure and things like to be built within Gaza that don't justify things like the Israeli blockade on the international stage. None of this is status quo. I don't know why you would say that. Status quo is, well, at least before October 7th, was Hamas just keeps firing ineffective pot shots. Israel reacts disproportionately like a bunch of fucking psychos, and then a bunch of Palestinians die, and then there's a ceasefire, and then you wait again for another few months until it's broken by one side or the other.
But, like,
that was status quo.
Like, okay, you support like, but you support like white boys like you're defending themselves, or white boys like getting armed and like fighting back. But like, when it comes to Arab, just like just be good little boys, just. Did
I not just say that I supported self-defense from people who are facing settler violence and expansion in the West Bank?
How would they defend themselves if they're under Israeli occupation, if like they're without arms and like?
I mean, some of them do. Some Palestinian groups do actually use arms to fight against settler violence. What are you talking about? They do. Sometimes this does happen, and they have a right to do that.
That ember, all right, that ember would grow. That ember would grow, and that ember would go into a fucking wildfire, and we would have the same thing over again.
Hang on, let me just. I just need you to acknowledge. Do you understand that there is a difference between an armed Palestinian faction maybe defending their fucking olive grove against violent settlers with a gun? Do you understand that there's a difference between that and paragliding into an Israeli fucking festival and killing 200 people? Do you see these two acts of? Do you think these are both acts of self-defense, or is one a lot more clearly defensive than the other?
But what I'm trying to say, dude, my guy, though, like that the self-defense in the first place, maybe like some Israelis will come over to settlers, they'll like fight with the Palestinians, and then they'll get into a firefight. Some Israelis will die, and then the IDF would come in with their with their drones or something, kill those people, or bomb a wedding accidentally, and then other clashes would come, and then some guy from the wedding would get pissed off that his wife died, or his brother in the wedding died, and then he's going to murder some fucking take a bus hostage. So this is how the whole thing crescendos in the first place. So what you're saying in the first place, even there, like would crescendo.
But that's why people who have these urges
over again.
That's why the people who have these urges need leadership. That's why, for example, even though it's something like South Africa or even like Puerto Rico at some point, where there are a lot of very, very legitimate grievances and people who want to escalate and kill just whoever, but they have leaders who realize that if they're going to achieve something, they need to focus their violence and their activity in a way that can actually yield tangible results. That's why, for example, with Mandela for a long time, the ANC's approach was to target infrastructure. And even though sometimes the ANC did kill civilians, the response from the ANC, albeit sometimes a bit late, was to acknowledge that, to apologize for it, and to move away from people who were engaging in that kind of behavior. That's a very different approach to what Hamas has.
You know what? There was 23 years with the war between ANC and the Cuba and other countries bordering.
Not in South Africa. This was in Namibia and Angola, right?
The border wars, but they still did incursions in South Africa, and they did also some operations in South Africa.
Yeah, so if Israel goes into fucking invade Syria or Lebanon, then there will probably be more of a justification for direct military conflict. That is not the same as paragliding into a music festival and just killing whoever with no real anticipation of achieving anything beyond, I guess, you start a war, you get public attention, and when your people die in disproportionate numbers, at least you get to say it's good, like, propaganda. It's kind of different. How many civilians did the ANC kill within South Africa during apartheid? I think there was like a 10-year period where the ANC killed 70 people?
I don't know.
Because that wasn't their main goal. Their goal was not to just target indiscriminately civilians. They didn't have suicide bombers and fucking shaheeds and shit like that. Even the worst of what they did, like the necklace thing, that was often to people who, from within the movement, who they thought were collaborators. Like it was other black people that mostly happened to.
But what South Africa is doing as well is not even compared to is even worse than what the Israelis are doing too. So I mean, they're both were pretty in a dire situation. One is even worse than the other, and so the other one is worse than the other.
I mean, South African police opened fire on protesters, killing people in the dozens.
Yeah, South Africans they throw people from the airports as well. So they
forcibly evicted like 3 million people to try and move them into the Bantustans. It was pretty fucking rough.
Yeah, they threw people from helicopters too. They told them a helicopter ride. They had
and the
what's the name?
difference is that the
Glass.
ANC had leadership that actually knew how to channel those grievances and that activity into something that could get them somewhere. Hamas, I don't think,
No,
has
the,
that.
the thing is though that South Africa didn't have a buddy in the United States after the communism fell down, but Israel still has the America's balls in its hand, and for some reason, and they have messianic purpose in Israel. So South Africa is not a messianic place for white people, but for Jews, it is a messianic place with end times fucking biblical nonsense.
So this
like
has
I mean, that
nothing
is
to
the
do with comparing the ANC to Hamas, but we can move on to what people can do about Israel instead if you want to just dodge that question.
yeah, like I mean, well, I mean, yeah, I got you. I compared the ANC to Hamas as well, but they're two different beasts. Yeah, they're two different beasts. They're both revolutionary beasts, but they're two different beasts facing two different things. That's what I'm trying to say. Like their enemy's not the same. That's what I'm trying to say. So they attack their enemies a different way, and look, one of is in a more dire situation, it's a more desperate situation, and it has suffered much longer than the other one as well. So anyway,
I don't know if that's necessarily true. Black people in South Africa? South Africa was under Dutch control since what, the 1600s or 1700s? The Battle of the Blood River, when was that?
was it the British first?
Battle of the Blood River was 1800s. No, yeah, Black South Africans were fought for hundreds of years.
Okay, my bad then. The Blood River. Yeah, it was British first, and it was your buddies in the first place, man. Blame your people in the first place.
That was like the Dutch and then the British, wasn't it?
No, it was the British then the Dutch.
Oh,
that's why the Afrikaner, like that's where the concentration camp came from, because when you concentrated the Boers, as they tried to rebel against the rule.
I thought the British came in and pushed the Dutch up north, but it's been a while, I guess. Wait, hang on. You're not wrong, are you? Dutch colonization 1652. I am doing the Destiny tactic. This is Wikipedia, but Dutch colonization was 1652. British at the Cape. No, the British were after the Dutch, weren't they? Am I completely... Like the Dutch before them, the British initially had little interest in the Cape colony. Yeah, it was Dutch first, British second. This is where you say anyway and try to call me a shit Arab or something.
No, but I was thinking, no, because the Dutch are saying they were fighting for their freedoms too, so I thought it was pretty weird. I thought because maybe they were there first and the British came and tried to steal their thing, but anyway.
Anyway, okay.
Whatever, I can't say anyway now, that's my fucking call sign, man, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, no.
Last one, and then we finish, okay?
Okay. Okay, cool. So this question is for both of you guys. Between the Moscow attack, right? The ISIS-K. Why is ISIS-K attacking Russia while Israel is burning down Gaza right now and killing their fellow Muslims?
Is that for me or Dylan?
For both. Dylan first. Dylan is the Eastern European expert.
Why is ISIS-K fighting Russia? I mean, Russia supports Assad, who doesn't like ISIS, just like every other faction in the Syrian civil war. ISIS is supporting a lot of regimes in Western Africa, different parts of Africa, that is fighting different factions of ISIS. Russia has a lot of land that has Muslims in it, like Dagestan, Chechnya, many of them with ties to historic Islamic extremist organizations, so they might feel like they want to liberate ISIS. I mean, you can listen to the Iraq news agency. They released a press release, and I think they talk a little bit about
it. What is going on in Chechnya or what is going on in Dagestan right now, this is not the 1990s, man. It's nowhere near what is going on in Gaza right now. So my point is, yeah, we have seen videos of Benjamin Netanyahu visiting Jabhat al-Nusra fighters.
I think the reason might be because, like, I think number one, it's a lot probably harder for them to get into Israel to do one of these types of attacks.
No, but you don't have to get it to Israel though. You're an international organization. You can attack Israel anywhere you want to. Israel
I mean, they can attack an embassy, I guess, but they attack a lot of countries. If you look through ISIS-K's history, they've attacked like an African, like random ass African countries, like tons of places. Like Russia is like one of the largest military forces in the world with Muslims in its land and influencing Muslim politics around the world. ISIS-K has interests.
Yeah, but as right now, as the one of the biggest fight is going on between Israel and actually, like this is one of the strangest things that ISIS never attacked
if your
Israel.
question to me is why isn't ISIS doing something like better with its time or smarter with its time, or like why isn't fighting
like
the better
but
fight?
like it is just strange. It is strange because I don't like ISIS to begin with. Like like they discuss me, but my point is though, why hasn't ISIS in all of its lifetime has never attacked Israel? It is strange, and what I'd say, like there's something shadowy going on over here. That's my point. Not
You
only
think there's
that,
something shadowy going on over here?
yeah, of course. Yeah. You don't
What's
think so?
what's the shadows? I don't see them.
You don't
To
see
me,
the
it's clear
shadowy.
as to me it's clear as day.
Okay, well, we have British support for what do you call it, Libyan terrorists that overthrew Gaddafi? Yes or no?
Are you saying wait? Are you saying ISIS have never attacked Israel?
Yes.
You sure?
They have
sure.
attacked Israel in some instances. I remember because
you loading
I
up
used to
your
think,
anyway?
I remember at one point I thought ISIS had never attacked Israel. I was like, has ISIS never attacked Israel? And then I said that, and then I got corrected for it. So yes, they have attacked
2017,
Israel.
When
they
was
claimed
this?
responsibility for a stabbing attack in Jerusalem for one.
Oh my God, a stabbing attack.
And
in
automatic
Jerusalem.
weapons. So,
Wow,
okay.
a stabbing attack. Oh no, boo boo. Just a stabbing attack? Who cares about that? Hey, buddy, have you ever been stabbed before?
They claim.
3 guys
no,
armed with, they claimed responsibility, so.
No, but was that? I'm pretty sure they just called themselves ISIS. Like that was not probably just ISIS, the main group. But okay, going back to with Netanyahu.
No, wait, that's not what that's
Sorry,
not what
Loner,
ISIS
that wasn't
claimed
a legit
responsibility
enough
means.
stabbing attack. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Not enough stabbing victims.
No, it's not, because I don't believe that they were ISIS. There was probably some teenagers that were just saying like we're
Oh,
ISIS.
they were fake. They were off-brand ISIS. They were knockoff ISIS.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
they might make. Where do you think knockoff ISIS was? Dude, that's how ISIS attack works. A ton of them are like inspired lone wolf attacks. That's still an ISIS attack. That's part of their doctrine, is to try to inspire those types of violence and then claim credit for it.
Okay,
that's
so
how you
I mean,
got like the Pulse nightclub shooting. Are we gonna say the Pulse nightclub shooting doesn't have anything to do with ISIS now?
I mean, like it wasn't with the group, yeah, because like, it was a guy that was inspired. So any crazy person that was inspired by Hitler, basically, just or by the Azov, is basically.
Yeah, I do think if Hitler says kill all of this group, and then somebody is inspired by that and goes kill those people, I do think that's at least partially Hitler's fault or inspired by Nazism. I would say that's a Nazi,
inspired,
a Nazi, yeah.
Yes.
It was a Nazi. Definitely, ISIS wanted people, they directed people to do these attacks. So this isn't just like, oh, I got inspired by like Dungeons and Dragons and I cut off my mom's head, like some crazy. No, they were advocating for violence and telling people to go do it in their name, and then people did it.
But yeah, but isn't it strange though that like all these things happen, and I just go what is going on right now in Gaza? This kind of stuff happen, and we have seen pictures. We have seen actually videos of Netanyahu visiting Jabhat al-Nusra fighters in Syria. We have seen Ephraim Halevi on an interview saying that supporting Jabhat al-Nusra is okay. Not only that, or Al-Qaeda, and we also seen British support for terrorists in Libya.
Can you tell me about this thing about Netanyahu visiting ISIS people in Syria? Or
not ISIS,
50-50 chance he's just talking about some FSA fighters. 50-50
FSA fighters. I can see him. Everything that comes up is him visiting a field hospital for Syrians or an IDF base. But what are we talking about here? When did he do this?
I don't know. Back in the Syrian war, man. It's like a while ago. But you can check out the Ephraim Halevi video, though. Like he was ex-Mossad, and like he was getting interviewed.
Okay, what is the point of all this? Is the point of all this to say ISIS didn't really do the attack, or actually they were directed by some foreign intelligence? What's the point of all of this?
Yes, they were directed by foreign intelligence. That's the point.
Okay, well, I think that's stupid, and I think you're stupid for thinking that.
No, what do you mean? Like there was never, like, so that's what I'm saying. There was never any support by outside influence, whether it's the Israelis, whether it's the British government supporting what do you call it, Islamic terrorists in Libya. Yes or no? The people that
wait, back the fuck up. Number one, we were arming groups in Libya because we wanted to see the downfall of Gaddafi's regime. Correct?
And so,
We don't want to see the downfall of Putin's regime necessarily. We're terrified of that because they have a giant nuclear arsenal. There's a reason why the West has been doing escalation management, and there's a reason why the West is kind of scared about the targeting of Russian oil production. It isn't just because they're scared about the international market. They're scared about collapse.
Yes,
the idea that what service to America's interest, to Israel's interest, to anyone's interest would they have in directing ISIS to do this type of attack in Caracas, especially since the Russian government is now using it to beat the drum of mobilization to attack Ukraine, an unrelated country. Also, they've been unable to provide any evidence backing up this claim. There's tons of evidence that ISIS did it. No evidence yet that that Ukraine or the United States was involved in planning it, or inspiring it, or paying for it, or anything for that matter. Definitely since both Iran and the United States warned them in advance of the attack.
We don't know this kind of stuff because secret stuff anyway. But have you supported Islamic terrorists who attacked our enemies before? Yes or no? Simple.
Yeah, they have. But in what way do you think they? How do you think that went? Do you think they were like, we like these terrorists, we like these Islamic extremists, so let's use them to get rid of Gaddafi? Or do you think they understated the threat, or what do you think happened?
How am I supposed to? But one of the guys that did the Manchester bombing, he was one of the guys you trained, Salman Abedi. He belonged to one of the groups you guys trained.
Yeah.
And the two airmen also that raped the man.
They didn't train him. They didn't train the Abedi family.
ISIS in Moscow. There's just dumb speculation, dog.
I don't think the Abedi family was.
You speculate. There's history. It's history, right?
The Abedi family were given passage between Libya and different countries in North Africa because they were seen as anti-Gaddafi. They were seen useful in an anti-Gaddafi sense. They were monitored and they were suspected threat, but that's the criticism there. The criticism there is that the UK, and this was even found in their own reports, was that they had understated the Islamist element of the anti-Gaddafi people. But where they were at the time was they were supporting people who were anti-Gaddafi. And yes, they made the very grave error of supporting some of those people who were terrorists, but I don't know, or who were Islamists, but I don't know what the fuck that has to do with. I don't know what that has to do with proving that ISIS were directed to attack Russia.
Because that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, you guys, like, even though you're leftist, you see the Britain or USA as clean and you know, as Boy Scouts. But I know that
I literally just gave you an example of Britain being not very clean at all.
Can you point to one example of the United States paid ISIS to do a terror attack, or the United States paid a group to do a terror attack like this? Period in the past.
What do you mean, like?
Like, have we ever, because the story from the Russians is, this is their official story, that through cryptocurrency, they haven't provided the wallet transfers or any of the evidence of this, they just said it, that through cryptocurrency, the United States paid ISIS to attack Russia. For what reason? I mean, I don't know. I guess they said for like Nazi whatever reason, they just fucking propaganda nonsense. For whatever reason, who knows? Is there any example of us doing something like this before?
For sure, yeah. Like a whole lot of fucking reasons, man.
When?
What do you mean? Like, you know, we overthrew.
No, like paying. Why would we pay terrorists to attack civilians at random of a country we're escalating tensions with? It doesn't make any sense. Or we just want to escalate tensions more, just to piss them off, just to help them mobilize soldiers.
Or maybe, you know, we supported these people and they went rogue. Those kind of things happen also. Even as we speak right now.
What does that even mean? How would they go rogue? How does ISIS is ISIS? Oh my God, we gave guns to ISIS and then they did an ISIS thing. They did a terror. No, ISIS has gone rogue. They're doing terrorism now. Before they were so nice and chipper and friendly.
As long as it's not against Israel, we're good with it anyway. But
we fought ISIS. We did Operation Inherent Resolve. We tried to get rid of their territorial holdings in Syria and Iraq. We didn't like ISIS. We fought ISIS.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about the relationship between Islamic extremism and USA. Sometimes we support these people and fuck shit up. Sometimes we kill them. So this is like the what do you call it? The snake eating its own tail. You know, it's like, you know, we support them, they fuck shit up, and then we go and take care of the deal. So it's like the revolving wheel. Man.
There are instances where we have an enemy in the region and we'll work with regional allies or regional partners to fight them. And some of those regional partners will be bad guys. But the purpose has never been to help Islamists. The purpose is because we have a bigger enemy. What's the bigger enemy here? This attack did nothing to bring down Russia. How does this attack bring down Russia? It helps the Russians mobilize more troops. What did it do? How does it help us?
I mean, I don't know. We just to punish them, just to kill people. Who the fuck knows?
We just hate we're just Russophobic. We were just like, ooh, those stinky Russians. We don't like how stinky they are, and we went over there and just Pay terrorists
winning,
to
man.
kill them for no reason?
I mean, I don't know. You have supported, like you said, yes, you supported terrorists before to do crazy shit like this before. So, I mean, why would
No,
I see
I
that?
asked you to give me an example of something like this before, and you still haven't. Like, there's no evidence for this.
What
This
do you
is
mean,
based
the
purely
Taliban,
in
the
speculation,
Taliban, the
and you've
Taliban,
still
okay,
been
the
able to
Taliban.
provide me a motivation. So far, it's speculation, not even based in a concrete motivation,
Okay,
just
all
for
right, we
no
supported,
reason, just for violence, just because we're evil or something.
yeah, we did. Okay, we did that with in Libya. We did that in Syria. We did that.
That's
in,
what we helped local people because we just wanted Libyans to die. Is that how you view our intervention in
No,
Libya?
we want to no because we hated the Gaddafi and we wanted to
Yeah, we
destroy
wanted
Libya. And
Gaddafi's regime to fall. Do we want Russia to collapse? No,
Yes, of
we do
course.
not want Russia.
What do you
No,
mean?
are you insane? Are you
What the
insane?
fuck
Why
you
would the
mean?
Russian
Are
government
you
want Russia
insane?
to? Why would America
Yes, you
want
do.
Russia to collapse? That's
Because
insane.
it's our number one
We
rival
didn't.
in
We
the
didn't
world,
even
man.
want the Soviet
It's our
Union
number
to
one enemy in
collapse.
the
We were
world. It's
terrified
our
of the
number one
Soviet
enemy,
Union's
guys.
collapse. We were terrified of
It's
the
our
Soviet
number one
Union's
enemy.
collapse. That doesn't make any. Dude, they have. When the Soviet Union was going down, we were scared. We were terrified because of their massive nuclear arsenal. We didn't know what was going to happen to these nukes, and we were scared that something could go wrong. Some rogue state would grab them. And so, to some extent, the government was actually against the idea of the Soviet Union collapsing in the same way that the American government is against the Russian government collapsing. We might want to see a change in government, but we don't want the government to collapse. If the government collapses, then you have the largest nuclear power in the world with a nuclear arsenal that's up for grabs for warlords and who knows what. That's a fear the American government has.
We go in there. Okay, if we feared that much, we wouldn't antagonize Russia just much as it is, man.
No, just because we understand that they're nuclear power, that doesn't mean we can cheat them with total deference. That means we have to give them everything and they can conquer whatever country. What you're describing right now is the biggest question of the nuclear age, is how to do diplomacy when you have world-ending potential.
No, look, Russia is our biggest rival, right? It's bigger rival than any of the Islamist countries. It was our biggest rival in the Soviet times. If it falls down, it also just brings us some more eminence. One more
we want to bring down Russia through terror attacks for eminence. How did okay, if we just go look at Russian history,
what does
did the apartment
do?
bombings help the Russian government centralize control, or did they hurt the Russian government, the apartment bombings?
Help, probably, yeah.
So why would we think that just mowing down random civilians and assisting them, not that any evidence has been provided of this yet, there's still no evidence, why would we do this? How would it help us? And so far, your only justification is because, well, I guess we just wanted to kill. We're like that guy from what's that video game? God, what's that video game? I gotta look it up quick.
Oh, wait, but okay, so while he's gone. All right, so we have established it. So we have supported Islamic terrorists before. We have used them for our own good before, for nefarious reasons. Yes, we have all used that. And they have gone rogue before and did have blowback, killed us.
Postal, yeah, we're like we're like the national postal guy. We're just the postal character as a country.
But that's not the claim you're making. Are you saying that these ISIS-K guys went rogue after being supported by the West, or they're currently being supported by the West to take down Russia? What do you think?
I think they are support because I think what's his name, Lee Camp. He's a Jewish guy too, but like a lefty. And he made a video saying that one of the leaders of ISIS-K used to work for one security company. I forgot what his name is, but I guess you should check out Lee Camp. He made a video about him. I forgot the guy's name and everything like that. But
Lee Camp's a fucking moron.
Oh, whatever, man. He's a proper journalist, man. Like,
he's a real proper journalist. Yeah, because he stems for empire. He just does it for the alternative establishment.
There's no alternative establishment. He just for
the there is. This is my problem with a lot of the weird Russia simps, is that many of them are doing it from contrarian efforts of like, I hate American empire. And there's a lot of reasons not like American empire. So what they've done is they've just traded it for a separate empire. And I don't think that's principled at all. I think that's moronic.
There's no separate empire. Like what they call it, Russia's not an empire. China is an empire, but I don't
How is Russia? How did it become the largest country in the world? How do you think that happened? Do you think they just wandered around and everybody welcomed them in?
Currently
what do you think happened to the Siberian peoples?
Currently, is Russia an empire?
Yes.
No. I mean,
what would you call an invasion? Why did they invade Georgia and take up Abkhazia? Do you think they were just doing that because they wanted to resolve the deep ethnic tensions in the region, or do you think they wanted to do that because they want Georgia to be in their sphere of influence, to be in their empire. If America's an empire and having allies around the world and military bases around the world is enough to be an empire, then the Russians are an empire. They're just much more regional.
Okay, well, like it's a regional. Okay, well, I'll give you a regional empire. Are you happy with that now? It's so regional empire that they even lost Ukraine to America.
Yeah, by the way, it's not just in the region, though, because they are doing operations in Africa. They're supporting the RSF, which is engaged in horrific violence in Sudan.
Okay, and so are your buddies, the Ukrainians as well, are there as well. Like doing
supporting the Sudanese military forces against the RSF.
Yeah, shit. I told you, like, this is basically basically the same thing the Cubans were doing. They were dogs of the Americans.
But how is that the same?
Wait,
wait, are you pro RSF? Are you one of Hetmani's boys or something? Are you?
No,
you want the RSF to win?
No, I don't even know who these guys are. I don't know the RSF or the Sudanese military are. I'm just making the comparison.
I mean, they did the Darfur
boys.
genocide. I don't think they should win the war. Is at least my opinion.
Okay, I don't know these people, but my point of it is though that the Cubans, like the same as the Ukrainians nowadays, were CIA boys going all around the world doing America's dirty work.
Do you think that? Why do you think Ukraine would have an interest in countries that Russia's in? Do you think there might be a national interest in like, hey, if we have the Russians tied up elsewhere, then we'll be fine at home and they'll have less resources to attack us? I mean, there were reports about the Ukrainian government considering working with the remnants of the FSA in northern Syria in order to try to destroy more Russian aircraft and more Russian soldiers and get more of them tied up in Syria instead of Ukraine.
Okay, but anyway, but I think the best thing to do right now.
Wait, no, don't say anyway. Isn't that clearly in Ukraine's interest and not in America's interest to tie up Russian soldiers elsewhere if they're fighting a war with Russia? Don't run away. Hopping around like a bunny.
Bullshit. Like, I don't think any Ukrainians have anything, like, they have any decision.
You don't think they have any reason to divert Russian war resources elsewhere?
No, they look. These are American boys, man. All they do was America tells them to do. That's
you're just regurgitating talking points at this point. You can't engage with the idea that Ukraine's fighting a war that is existential, and they want Russian soldiers to leave. If the Russian soldiers go to Syria to fight the FSA, or they go to Sudan to support the RSF, or they go to other parts of Africa to do other things, if they stretch out the Russian resources, then they can fight a more effective war at home. That would be the strategy. You don't think there's any interest there for the Ukrainians, for their national survival?
If Ukraine cared about their survival, wouldn't pick a fight for America with the Russians.
They were invaded. They didn't pick a fight. They tried to negotiate until the last day when the Russians crossed the border. You are just a simp for empire. You are that alternative empire guy was talking about. You reject the American establishment empire to join the jackboot of another one. That's pathetic. It's humiliating. I can't. Honestly.
He's trying to do the Boris Johnson argument.
You smell, and also you smell bad. I want to also include that you smell bad too.
Wow.
Okay, like, well, you don't even know how you look like, but you just wanted to say that because like it was racist stuff, huh? It's like,
what do you mean racist stuff? I don't know what race you are. What race are you?
Huh?
Tell me what race you are, so I could be a better racist.
All right, like you're a supremacist, man. Like anyway, like one of these days, man. Like,
what do you mean an American supremacist, dog?
That's what you are. That's what you are.
All I want is the Russians to leave the country they're invading, and that makes me an American supremacist. That says a lot more about your worldview than mine.
No. I saw a video of you of one in Syria where you were like, oh my God, I think you were having a hard on, man. Checking out how when the Syrians
more gay fantasies, man. You got to get that checked.
No, that was like I saw it, man. You were getting a hard on, man. While you were talking about the American military, yeah, you were getting a hard on, man.
How hard was I?
I don't know, man. It looks like you're having an orgasm.
Wow, man, you paying close attention, huh?
I mean, it was you. It was like, oh my God, American military. Fuck you, man. You're what do you call it? You're a Raytheon leftist, man. That's what you are. You're a Raytheon.
You mean
leftist.
I live, laugh, Lockheed? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, live, laugh, Lockheed, man. That's it.
Nah, man.
What? Now, one of these days, you're going to pay for the
price.
I
wish, man, the money would have been much better, but nah.
Exactly, you're just a water carrier for these rich people, for these rich white men who you want to
serve the white man. I'm serving the white man. Loner, I'm sorry, I haven't been honest to you about my interests. I serve the white man and the white man first.
Well, as a gay guy, yeah,
I thought that was a given.
Like, that's what you're out for. Yeah, of course. As a gay man, that's what you want to like. You want the military man first. Like that's what you want. You're
dude, what's with the gay fantasies, dog? I haven't talked about my sexuality once in this conversation. Why do you keep coming back to my sexuality, dog? Get it checked out. See a therapist.
because a lot of things are motivated by sex, man.
That's so.
Yeah, I support Ukraine because of my gay urges.
Anyway, man, it's been nice talking to you all. We'll chat another time. But you guys are not leftists, so you're
Dude, you're not a leftist.
It's a really
you can't
good thing you've
support
got
an empire and then call yourself a leftist. Like Ukraine started the war. They got invaded, dog. You can't be carrying water for an empire and just because it's not the red, white, and blue, pretend now that you're like some anti-colonial warrior, man.
At least I support the Houthis and stuff like that. Look on the Hamas.
What is that? What kind of dude? A bunny again to jump around. Okay, I support one empire, but I don't support this other empire. So I'm actually a true leftist and decolonial because this empire is not as bad as the other empire. Get the fuck out of here.
You get the fuck out of here. Loner, see you too, man.
Bye.
Wow.
Bro.
Where do you find these people?